So Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Sunday program, and because of rain looks like slightly less crowd. So the topic today is reincarnation, myth or fact. It is a long topic, may happen in 2 sessions. So you all heard of reincarnation, Punarjanma. This is, for those who don't know, phenomena of someone taking birth again, dying, taking birth again. Actually that word comes, reincarnation comes from a Latin word, re-in-carna. Re means again, inside. Karna, what is karna? Carnivorous. Karna means flesh, like meat eater is carnivorous. So in Latin, reincarna means again in the flesh. We'll explain what that means. But the fact that there is a word which is going back from Latin, before English and French, there was another language in the West, they were speaking Latin. So if the word is in that language, that means this concept is very old, even there. But today, it's not much accepted. So, reincarnation, is this a science or is it a religion? Is it a belief? What is the status of this topic in educational, scientific communities here in India and outside India? What is the status? There is some kind of mystery surrounding this. If we speak about reincarnation, in the college they will not accept, but they may accept in the everyday life. But if you quote it in a college or among scientists, they don't want to speak about that as being some fact. So now there's a reason for that. We'll see that later. This mysterious absence of discussion about reincarnation, acceptance in educated and scientific communities, it is only in the West. In the West and even in India, in the educational institutions, among educational and scientific communities, people don't want to accept it. Okay? But among common people, there's a lot of acceptance. People accept reincarnation, punarjanma, rebirth happens again. So even among quite a few religious and cultural groups around the world, people accept this. You'll be surprised to know in South America there were civilizations in the past. They accepted it. Some parts, many parts of Africa, mostly all parts of Africa, they accept some form of rebirth. In Chinese institution, Buddhist, they accept. Majority of the world accept it actually, but it's not accepted in educational and scientific communities. Why is that? That we'll mention. Now there's exception. Let's look at the history of study before we look into Shastra and other things. Actually, there was research done in reincarnation by someone called Ian Stevenson. He documented 3,000 cases of people, mostly children, remembering the past life. But not only children, also grown-up people. So he lived from 1918 to 2007. He was in University of Virginia, School of Medicine, and he made a department called Division of Perceptual Studies, because no one will allow to call reincarnation or rebirth. But he instead gave it a name, Perceptual Studies, and there was another name before that, anyway. And so he especially researched past life memories, documented them very detailed. Such a detail he documented. He wrote 300 papers and 14 books on reincarnation. So okay, that is exception. But otherwise in the West, there is no clue, no acceptance, no discussion about it. And that was years ago, many years ago. Okay, now today, there's no team of people or big group of scientists discussing this topic or accepting it. But more and more people are remembering past life. This you can check if you just go on YouTube or general internet. In America and Britain, people had no connection to Hinduism, Indian culture, nothing. Christian, even Muslims, atheists, they're having past life memories and they can't explain it. And some of them are beginning to accept this. So this has become such a widespread thing and topic of discussion, topic of movies, books, even entertainment industry, that now a lot of demand is coming for answers. That what is this? Is it a science? Is it a belief? Is it really, what is going on? Why are people remembering their past life? In one survey done by Pew Research Center in America, they found 33% of Americans accept reincarnation. Of course, as you know, most of America are Christians, but they accept it because, as I said, there is so much evidence coming now. So, we were speaking about research that happened many years ago by someone called Ian Stevenson, but actually no other studies being done. But now, if you check now, can you please move forward so others can sit? So now, if you do a check now on this topic, research on reincarnation, we'll find that there's someone right now studying and promoting it. His name is Dr. Jim Tucker. He is a child psychiatrist. He's doing a lot of work all over in same University of Virginia. In fact, he's continuing the work of that Ian Stevenson, who already did so much study. He's continuing that work. So, that's it. Anyone else studying reincarnation? No. Any mention? No. Not much. I checked research. Not much is there. There are people speaking as if it's something side interest. Some few crazy people are believing it. Just a topic of interest, not accepting. But as I said now, there's so much evidence, what we call circumstantial evidence, that you cannot ignore this. Circumstantial evidence, this is a term lawyers use. For example, if you hear a loud sound of a gun and you enter the room and you see someone holding a gun, someone is dead and that person is bleeding, then what you conclude? He shot him. Did you see? No. But circumstantial evidence that I heard the sound, I saw the man, he had the gun and the blood was coming out of the person, mean he just got shot. This is called circumstantial evidence. So, circumstantial evidence for reincarnation is so clear that you cannot say it's not actually there. You cannot say that. It's very clear. It's circumstantial evidence. I'll give you an example. So, their children are born, say in America, and they're speaking Japanese. They know Japanese language. They are speaking. Mother is asking, how do you know this language? I don't know. I'm just talking. And then they start talking about Japan, my house in Japan, and I was having one dog and 2 children, and it was in this place and that place, and mother is thinking he's watching too many anime cartoons or something. So anyway, he goes on speaking. After some time, they said, okay, let's find out what is this kid saying. Where is your house? In this city, this place. And they go there to that city, and he's describing a house. They find a house, and describing family members. They're all there. How do you explain that? Other children are born with skills, extraordinary skills in maybe music or some knowledge which they could not have gotten anywhere else. Other children, they're describing their death. This is how I died. This is who killed me. Everything. And in this life, they have a fear of that, again, of that thing. Like I saw one narration of someone had a great fear of water, could not go near water, such a fear. Even a puddle of water, they'll get afraid. So they did something called regression. Regression means They'll hypnotize that person and tell them the person is 24 years old. What were you doing 10 years ago? Where were you 20 years ago? And then where were you 35 years ago? Now he's 24. 35 years ago means it's not that life. Already he went to the next previous life. What happened? Can you remember in the end of your life what happened? And he said that I was in a village in North America, you know, that Red Indians, the traditional people of America before the Europeans settled. They were in villages, they were called Red Indians, Native American Indians. So he said, and then people came, and what happened? And I was drowned. They forcibly drowned me in the water. So he described his death. Then what happened? Then I saw a light, and then I was born again in some other place. So now, because of his previous death, he was afraid of water. So that connection is there to the next life. Okay, see, and other people, they're recalling their death and how it happened. And in the place that they were killed, there was a mark even in the next life. That happens many times. Birthmark or some mark. So, as I was saying, no one is watching someone taking birth. I'm watching him, now he left, now he's taking birth. But circumstantial evidence that it is very clear from all these things, these people lived before. They lived before and they died, and here they are in another life. So how can you explain that? This is rebirth, reincarnation. So all of these things have been documented. And some of the scientists, these two scientists, they actually wrote down names, everything clearly. In science, you have to do that for it to be bona fide. Still, scientific community, not that they're rejecting, but they're not accepting. They don't want to speak about it at all. Again, I'll explain you why this is. So mostly I said children remember past lives. But also adults. Adults undergo a process called regression, I mentioned. They'll be put into a hypnotic state, then asked, what is your life, what is your name, what are you doing? Okay, now go back this many years, that many years, until you're in the previous life. They've taken videos of this and they wrote down, and books have been written, 14 books have been written. Without doubt, these people lived before. There's no way they could have gone there and seen all these things. So regressions have been done. Okay, this is one topic about reincarnation. Now another topic is there, NDE, OBE. This is called near-death experience, out-of-body experience. Has anyone heard of that? These topics are not so common. Huh? No. Okay, I'll explain you. NDE means near-death experience. That means somebody is about to die. Then what happens? He leaves his body and he comes up and he's watching his body from up. And he's watching the ambulance, watching everything. People are trying to make him wake up. He's watching his body. So people start to explain this, that this happened to me. And doctor said you are dreaming. No, I'm not. I remember what you are wearing, what you did, what you spoke, everything. And they'll say that, everything. And they'll describe the top of the ambulance. Who can see that? Only one who's on top. Who can lie about that? So, that is called NDE. This is also a frequent thing happening. NDE. Another is OBE, out-of-body experience. That happens in surgeries. Sometimes someone is put in anesthetic. Or if someone is in deep sleep, he comes out, he sees his body. Again, someone can think this is a dream. But it describes everything. You came in, you said this, then they said this, then you went there. Everything's explained. Clearly we can see there are things going on in this world which are beyond science. Our modern science, what it explains, this is beyond that. Some other explanation has to be given. Scientists cannot answer this. The science that we have cannot speak about this. Actually, modern science is telling us that we are the body and we evolved from monkeys and we evolution and all these things. So, these answers have to be given for this, because it's not something for you crazy people. This is now very, very common. So, in order to study reincarnation and to explain this point, first thing is we have to understand is that What is reincarnating? Reincarnation. What is reincarnating? That we have to find out. Okay. So, this body, as we know, when someone dies, what happens? This body, either it's going to be burnt. If it's burnt, it will become ash. Okay? If it's not burnt, what will happen? They'll bury it. Then it will become dust. Otherwise, if no one does anything, then the animals will eat it. Then it will become stool of the animal. So the body, it says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Purana, that either three things will happen to this body. Either it will become ash, or stool, or dust. There is no way this body can come again. And we cannot say reincarnation and the same body is coming. The body is finished, isn't it? So then what is it? Reincarnating. It's not the body. And by this we can understand, I am not the body. Bodies died, and sometimes I come up in near-death experience. People come up and see their body. Still they're thinking, still they have their thoughts. This means I am not the body, and the brain is not the source of consciousness and not the source of any kind of memories or anything. There is something else. So this has to be found out. We have to find out what is coming back, because body dies. Okay. Now, from all this point, we can actually realize one thing, that we actually know very little about who we are. Hardly, we don't know much about who we are, isn't it? I'm asking, who are we? And someone thinks maybe I'm the body, but body died and I'm reincarnating, near-death experience. I'm coming out of the body, seeing my body, so I'm not the body. So what am I? Actually, we don't know. There's a big confusion, lack of understanding, because all our knowledge now comes from science. Science cannot answer all the questions, because science is based on senses, sense perception. The senses are limited. How much will you see? What happens after death? Who can know? Who can see? Senses cannot know that. What is life? What is consciousness? I cannot see that. We cannot get our knowledge from science fully. It cannot, especially reincarnation. Why are people not speaking about reincarnation? Because they don't have a clue what to do about it. Their science cannot explain it. We have to go to a higher source of knowledge, at a source of knowledge which is superior, which has knowledge about things beyond the body. There's a word, metaphysics, means beyond physical. We say spiritual, divya, but we have words like metaphysics, beyond the physical realm, metaphysical science. Or they like to say paranormal. Paranormal means beyond normal, as if we are not normal, we are crazy people. Paranormal, metaphysics. Okay, but we need answers. So now, the best source of knowledge on reincarnation, anyone can investigate, but I'll tell you today, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, give detailed knowledge about reincarnation and our identity. No one can give this much knowledge. Even there are communities and cultures around the world, they accept reincarnation. For example, Buddhists accept reincarnation, but Buddhists don't believe in God, and they don't believe in Atma, soul. They believe that perfection, after dying we enter into a void, but they accept reincarnation. So question is then, what is reincarnating? So detailed knowledge, Bhagavad Gita. Next is Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Purana has a lot of information. It is the deepest knowledge on topics of soul and identity of soul and God in Srimad Bhagavatam. So these two books in Kali Yuga especially are very much read, and we recommend people to go through these books. In this modern life, I'm speaking about reincarnation, rebirth. But have you heard about this outside? No one will speak about that. Neither in your college, neither on TV. In a movie, maybe in a movie, something. What about among your friends? No one will speak about that. Generally, in this material world, people have dedicated life just to enjoying this body. How will I enjoy the body? I will have fun in this world. And so, or we'll work hard to get money so I can enjoy. And this is life, eating, sleeping, working. And people are struggling hard to get money just to enjoy in the future. Okay, so people have no knowledge at all why we took birth. What happens after death? We have no knowledge. Actually, neither does anyone want to know. No one will speak about death or what happens. We want to know now how we'll enjoy. Yeah, but intelligent person will ask what happens after death, what happens in the future, where did I come from, why was I born? Intelligent person will inquire. Definitely you're all intelligent, you came here. But how many? How many are there? So this idea of working hard, I got this human body, work hard and enjoy hard. This is not human life. Human life is higher thinking, questioning, coming to some answer, solving the problems. What problem? Birth, death, disease, old age, suffering, hot, cold, so much suffering. Human life is asking, why was I born? Why is this suffering here? Let me solve it. This is human life. So no one has that knowledge. And so when we bring up a topic of reincarnation, no one knows, hardly, no one interested much. So this is not human life. You know, animals are eating, sleeping, looking for a good house to sleep, looking for food, for sex, ahara, bhaya, nidra, maitunya, samanyam hi etat pashubhi naranam. These things are common in humans and in animals. Eating, sleeping, sex, and looking for house. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. But the human being has a higher duty, dharma. Find out who is God, who am I, why was I born. Brahma jigyasa, spiritual inquiry, this only a human being can do. So the Hitopadesh says, dharmena hina pashubri samana, that the human who is not engaged in searching after these things is on level of animal. And in Shastra they are called dvipada pashu. Pashu, animal, has 4 legs. But Shastra says, no, animals on 2 legs are human beings who don't inquire spiritually. So, now this is the level of the population in this age. It was not like this before. We understand from Shastra, Dwapar Yug, Treta, Satyug, people were highly educated. People, of course, we had gurukuls here in India. And people studied these topics. Everyone could understand and they were in knowledge of these things. So, why were we born? Why is there death? Why is there suffering? Who am I? First important question, who am I? Who am I? What am I? Because if I don't know, whatever knowledge I know, useless if I don't know who I am. So, science should be addressing this. Why isn't science addressing this issue? Why can't science stop death? Stop suffering? Actually, it's not possible, as I said. We have to go beyond. So then now we are speaking about Bhagavad Gita. We are speaking now from Shastra. Okay, fine. So let's look at the verse. We know from Bhagavad Gita that we are eternal souls. What does Bhagavad Gita say? That I am a soul. I am not the body. And the soul is not belonging in this material world. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita and in the Upanishads that Aya divyani dhamani tashtuhu, that the jiva, the soul, is from a higher spiritual planet, spiritual realm, spiritual world, Vaikuntha. And before we were not here, but we fell here because of turning away from serving God. So we came into this material world and we came here to enjoy separate from God, to turn away from Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita explains that originally we were in the service of the super soul, Paramatma, Krishna, and engaged in his service. But we developed a desire to enjoy separate from Krishna. We did not want to serve Krishna. So we took birth in this material world. We fell down and entered a material world. This is Jad Jagat, Bhautik Jagat. This material world, everyone here in one way is sinful, because we turned away from God. And so this is a world of suffering. Bhagavad Gita says this. So now, having come to this material world, we are given a body. This is a material world. So we are given a material body with which to try to enjoy in the material world. Body has 5 senses. And now everyone is thinking, I have to enjoy the senses. I have to enjoy this world. That's what we are thinking. So Bhagavad Gita mentions, we were not always in the body. We had a separate spiritual body. We were beyond this material world. But now we came here. Now, having come to this material world, we are just trying to enjoy and to enjoy this body and this world. That's our engagement. Also, it's mentioned that these souls keep changing the body. There is one shloka. Dehino sminyatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhiras tatta namuhyati. Krishna tells Arjuna that the jiva, we are trapped in the body. Dehino smin yatha dehe. Dehe is body. Dehino, the one inside the body. Krishna didn't say you are the body. He said inside the body there is someone, that is you, trapped inside. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. This body changes constantly. It's a young body, becomes youthful, becomes old. The body constantly changes. And the soul remains in the body, and it is not affected by that change in the body. But the body keeps changing. Yet the soul is not attached. So that shloka says, Tata dehantara prapti dhiras tata namuyati. That means, at the time this body dies, soul takes another body. It's called dehantara prapti. We call it death. But not knowing what is actually happening, people think that is the end. He's died. And people, they feel so sad, he's dying. No, Jiva cannot die. He lives on. Bhagavad Gita says that when the Jiva dies, he takes another body. And then people will be shocked. How is that possible? No, the shloka said that anyway, he had a baby body, 1-year-old, 12-year-old, 20-year-old, 30-year-old. He had so many bodies. And still, even though the body changed, he did not change. He's the same person. He's still Ravi. Ravi is the same, whatever the body happened, the soul does not change. There's a part which does not change. I look at my picture, I'm changing so much in this life. I look at the mirror, oh, white hair came, oh, white, now hair is going, whatever changes are coming. But I'm still the same person. So the shloka says, just like in his whole life, the body changed, he's not affected. So when the body died, he's not affected. He'll just enter another body. Right in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, they established reincarnation as a fact. This is science, deeper science. It was prevalent all over this creation. But people did not, due to misinformation, took this as some mythology. By the way, this word mythology, this is not a word to be used for our shastras. This word comes from mithya. In English, myth means something not true. So people like the British, they will not accept our Shastra, Rama and Mahabharata. So they'll call it a myth. Myth is from Sanskrit, mithya. Mithya means not true. So we should not say mythology, we say Shastra, Itihasa. But they use the word mythology. So people didn't accept that. Now even in India they're not accepting reincarnation. Oh, scientific. What can science tell us? We accept science, we're not anti-science. Actually, Vedas are very scientific. We accept science. But what we are against is atheistic science. Science is denying God and soul just because we cannot see. But I cannot see many things. I cannot see an atom. I cannot see corona, so there's no corona. I cannot see it. No, you will know when you get the symptom. So similarly, how to know about the soul? I cannot see it, they cannot accept it. From the symptom. What is the symptom of the soul? Consciousness. If somebody is conscious, he has a soul. He's a soul. He's a living being. So how to know if this has a soul? Does it have a soul? Is it living? No. Does this have a soul? He's reacting. Yes, because he's conscious. I can see by symptom. In science, they see by symptom. They will see a particular acid or gas. They don't know what it is. But we studied in science, pungent smell, and reacts with fire like this, reacts with water like this. Therefore, H2S or whatever it is. By the actual substance characteristic, they can identify. So, science cannot see the soul, but at least they should see the symptom. Because some things are beyond us, we'll never see. I'll never see an atom. No one can see atom. I will never see Pluto with my eyes. Now they're telling us, look in the telescope, that is Pluto. How do I know? You are saying that. Who knows? Who went to check? We cannot see things with our eyes. We have to accept higher knowledge. So, Shastra cannot be rubbished. They're talking about soul. Soul is there. They're talking about soul taking birth again. Then it's something to accept. So now, we are souls. So to understand reincarnation, first is understand who are you. So I am a soul. Okay. But, I don't know, not wanting to overload you, some of you first time you're hearing these topics, but it's not enough to know about soul. We have to know about sharir. Sukshma sharir, stool sharir. Gross body, subtle body. This body, which I can see, is called a gross body. Inside this body, there's another body. It's called Sukshma sharir, subtle body, which we cannot see. All of us have a gross body and subtle body. This gross body is made of Panchabhuta. Bhumi, Rapa, Nala, Vayu, Kham. In other words, in English, earth, water, fire, air, ether. This is in Bhagavad Gita. 5 things make up this body. But inside there's another body that is called Sukshma Sharir. That subtle body is made of 3 things. Mind, intelligence, and Ahankar. Ahankar is Atma, but in a covered situation, deluded condition. Atma is covered by Maya. It's not in his pure consciousness. So, let's say Atma, mind, intelligence. This is the Sukshma Sharir. This gross body, when it dies, Sukshma Sharir will move to another body. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. This Sukshma Sharir, all of us have. When we sleep, sometime it will move here and there. And sometime we wake someone up, he'll jump. Because the Sukshma Sharir went little far, it came, rushed back. Sometimes yogis, they perfect the art to leave that body lying, sleeping, and they will travel in their subtle body around. That is documented. Even now, people can do that, certain. So that subtle body, gross body. Now, the explanation is given in Bhagavad Gita in one shloka in chapter 15, that reincarnation means when the subtle, gross body dies, so subtle body goes to another body. Okay, so to understand reincarnation, Punarjanman, this is science. It's very important to understand these things. The subtle body containing mind, intelligence, false ego, Atma. When we talked about out-of-body experience, that is what came up and saw the body. Body is lying, he's looking. It's very clear in Vedic science that the memories, intelligence is not coming from the body. It's coming, it's the mind, intelligence and false ego are in the subtle body. This gross body is not, the brain is not in charge of our consciousness. So what is the brain? The brain is the switchboard linking subtle body and gross body. Such that when someone becomes brain dead, he's alive but he cannot move. Because his instrument, his connection is lost to the instrument. But the instrument is alive but he cannot use it. Because that is a connection point. This is the Vedic science explaining us. That the brain is linking subtle body and gross body. At the point of reincarnation, he leaves that body and goes and takes another body. Okay, now we'll explain more about that. At death, depending on our desires and actions, karma and ichcha, The subtle body will carry us to another gross body. That means I'll take another body, cat, dog, plant, or another human being in China, in India, in Africa. Depending on my actions. What are our actions in this life determine the birth in the next life. If you want to know what is your birth now, you can tell your previous life. Any disease you got. And in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, very detailed it's given. Someone born like this was his past life. This is the punishment for this is the punishment for that. I remember a few of them. Digestion problem means that in a past life, you betrayed someone who took shelter of you. Birth in a desert means in past life, someone killed a Brahmin. So they're born in the desert. And birth with, problem eyes, ears, everything is documented. In this life, whatever you do is coming in the next life. This is given in detail. Okay? And people asking, is there reincarnation in West? But here in the sciences, in the Vedas, it's very, very detailed. Of course, people are not reading. That's the issue. So all our desires, thoughts, and karmic actions we did are stored in our subtle body. Everything, past life, 1,000 lives, million lives, everything is stored. If you can go back, it will all documented. It's there. So I mentioned one story before. This is in Mahabharata. Dhritarashtra, he had the power to recall his past lives. So he could remember, I think 50, 100, something like that. So at the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, he went to Krishna. He said, Krishna, why is it that I had 100 sons? And how is it I was born blind? And how is it all my sons were killed in the battle? So then Krishna told them, you can remember your past lives up to, I think it was 50. But you cannot remember the 51st life before that. You were a hunter. You shot an arrow into a nest. And that was Dwapar Yuga before. Previous ages, animals were different, humans were different. So that nest, there were 100 children of the bird. That arrow had a fire. You killed all the bird's children. And the father bird eyes was blinded. So you had to take birth like this. 100 sons had to be killed. Then he said, but Krishna, that was 50 births ago. Why am I suffering now? Then Krishna answered, because you took 50 lives to get punya to have 100 children. It takes punya to have one son, to have a child. So you took 50 lives to get that punya. So you got it. So we don't know when the karma will act. Even from before, we don't know. There's a plan. There's a supreme intelligence administering everything. So everything is under superior intelligence. Krishna says in Gita, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. This material nature is working under my supervision. Mayadhyakshena, eyes, aksha. So under my supervision. So at the point of death, the subtle body will go and you'll take a certain body. Which body? Bodies are given in Padma Purana, 84 lakh species, which we may take. Jalaja Navalakshani, 900,000 in the ocean. Stavara Lakshavinshati, 3 million plants. Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, 10 lakh type of birds. Manushanam Chatulakshanam, 4 lakh type of human bodies. Human body, in which different planets. Gandharva Loka, Rakshas, Pishacha, Manushya, so many. Vanara, Kinara. They are different planets, different kinds of bodies descended from Manushya. So we may take any of them depending on our actions, our consciousness and our desires. People do rock climbing. They like to do rock climbing. They may take a body of a mountain goat. Next slide. People who are excessively eating meat a lot, the body cannot process, but the intelligence realizes this is what you want, then we take birth as a lion or tiger, we can have unlimited meat. So why are there 84 lakh species? Because there are almost 84 lakh different types of desires someone can get. So this material world will award the body according to a desire. That is the plan of the material world, to fulfill your material desire. Actually we don't belong here, we are supposed to be in Vaikuntha. But the jivas do not want to serve Vishnu. So, okay, take birth here, fulfill your desire. How do you want to enjoy? Like this. Okay, take that body. No, I want to enjoy like that. Take that body. And the problem is we keep developing new desire. So you have to keep taking different bodies. At the point of death, now I want to do this. Okay, so death, now take another body. Reincarnation happens. This is the purpose. Okay. Bhagavad Gita explains the mechanism of reincarnation. Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita shlokas. So Bhagavad Gita explains the mechanism, the system how reincarnation happens in detail. So as I said, look at the contrast that people are seeing. They are wondering that is there reincarnation? But here, not only they are giving reincarnation, but who are we? Why reincarnate? How it's happening? You know, it is just surprising how people don't want to look at this knowledge. So now within Bhagavad Gita, it says some verses are there how this reincarnation process happens. Okay, so it says, Shariram yadavapnoti yachhabhyutkramat ishvaraha grihitvani sangyati vayugandhani vashayat. Translation: the living entity in this material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another. That means I have a desire, I have this, I like this or that. It will be carried to the next body. Just as air carries aromas. It says, just like air carries a smell, like there's a flower. From here I'm smelling the flower. How did that happen? Because the wind carried that smell here. So similarly, I have desires and thoughts. That will move to another body with me, because the subtle body will take it there. This is in Bhagavad Gita. Then he takes one body and quits it to take another. Shariram yadavapnoti utkramat. He takes it and takes another body. Okay. Now next verse is saying, Shrotam chakshu sparshanam cha rasanam ghranam eva cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayan upasevati. It says that the living entity, the jiva, he'll take another gross body, another physical body. The subtle body will take him to another body, and he'll get a certain type of ear, eye, nose, tongue and skin, and thus he will enjoy. So now I was saying, when we say there are different bodies, actually what is different? What is different are the senses, isn't it? For example, a dog has very sharp sense of smell. Teeth are very good for eating meat. Mountain goat has very good legs for climbing. Bat, bat can go at night. They have a sonar or whatever. I don't know how they're traveling. So when we say different body, actually what is different is the senses, and the bodies are different. The senses are different. So here Bhagavad Gita is saying that they get different kind of senses because they wanted to enjoy in that way. And so they're given a certain body. So Bhagavad Gita is giving the system how the next body is chosen. It's chosen according to our desire. What did you do whole life? What did you think? So accordingly you're born in a certain body. Or if you're born in a human body, then you're born in a certain country or culture, a certain land, according to what is your desire. Nothing is by chance. Nothing is just speculation. No, everything has a plan. As it says in Shastra, not a blade of grass moves without permission of God. We took this body, all of us, now we are sitting here in BTM. By chance? No. Even this is calculated. That you came here, you are studying there, and this much. Even the money is calculated what you'll get. These shlokas are there in Shastra. The money is calculated, even how much sun you'll get is calculated. Some people are born, there is no sun. That is their life. They have to suffer like that. Others are born in war. They're born in a war situation. War is going on. They'll be suffering. That is their karma, Of course, we don't like it. We try to help them. But the fact is, it is karma. How to explain it? It is karma. Okay, what is reincarnating? Soul in the subtle body. Body dies. Soul never dies. None of us die. We never die because we are never born. Something that has birth has death. Example, something has a creation. One day this will become decomposed. But Atma has no birth. Bhagavad Gita says, na jayate mriyate vakadachin. Soul is never born, soul never dies. Na jayate mriyate vakadachin. Neither will it ever take birth in future or die in future. Soul never dies. Reincarnation. Body dies, soul moves on. So this is very clear. Okay? Now, for the people who say there is no reincarnation, well, we have a question. Why is it that one child is born in a war, no food, no money, and very suffering? Another child is born with so many wealth and food, no issue. Why is the difference there? What is the difference? Some will say, it is will of God. Okay, but why is God willing? You will suffer and you will enjoy. Is it unfair God? Unjust God? No. Then the question has to come, it's not the fault of God or anyone, but the fault of that person. But how are you saying it's his fault? He's just born, he didn't do anything wrong. Why is he suffering? Because of the past life. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. So people who don't accept reincarnation, there are religions like that. So explain, why is that? Why is it someone is suffering at birth? One is born into a suffering condition, one is not born in a suffering condition. We are saying reincarnation, they are not accepting. So you say, what is the reason? This is the explanation actually. So, even, so that is within religion. Even in science, they don't accept reincarnation. They don't accept. Then how do you explain all this phenomena? People remembering past lives, outer body experience, near-death experience. This is a fact. Circumstantial evidence. Anybody by looking, and that's why today in America, 33% of America accept reincarnation. And I also in the same research, it came there, in America they interviewed Catholics, the largest religious group, 26% accept reincarnation. Because of the widespread knowledge now, we cannot eliminate this idea. They want answers. Okay? Now question is, reincarnation is happening. Is it a good thing or bad thing? Some people say, I want to come back, or our grandmother will take birth again as a child in our family, or actually it happened, they were happy. Okay? Is reincarnation a good thing? Bhagavad Gita says that this material world is full of suffering. Dukhalayam shashvatam. Mamupetyatu punarjanma dukhalayam shashvatam napnubonti mahatmana. That this world is full of suffering. Actually, it's not a place to be. Shastra says, get out of here. Don't stay. Because here, we suffer so much due to this body. Now, hot, cold, hunger, thirst. Suffering is divided in three, according to Shastra. Shastra says, adibhautik, adidaivik, adhyatmik. Suffering is adibhautik, means suffering from other living entities, like mosquito, malaria, thieves, other living entities. Second, suffering caused by my own mind and body, adhyatmik. Sometimes my mind is so disturbed, it's causing me suffering, stress or depression or some anger, envy. That is suffering caused by my own body. Third is suffering caused by adidaivik, by devatas or by nature. Hot, cold, rain, flood, tsunami. So, this world is full of suffering. It's not good to come back. Reincarnation happens, but it's not meant to be. It should be stopped. Who is reincarnating? Everybody is reincarnating. Some are remembering, some are not. Everyone is reincarnating. As long as one does not come back to his original pure spiritual consciousness, they will reincarnate. Bhagavad Gita says, Srimad Bhagavatam explains, originally the Jeev, soul, is in Vaikuntha. He is in Goloka with Krishna in the Leela. Now this is a very big topic. Some of you would have heard first time. But as Krishna says, one who worships me and knows me, he comes back to me. He will not take birth again. Janma karma chame divyam. Evam yo veti tatvataha. Tyaktva deham punarjanma na eti mam eti sarjuna. Krishna tells Arjuna. One who understands me and worships me, understands my birth and my activities. Janma karma cha me divyam. That my birth and my activities are divya, spiritual, transcendental. Tyaktva deham punarjanma na eti. After giving up his body, he'll not take birth again. Mameti, he'll attain me, means he'll attain the spiritual world. So that is what is the goal explained in Bhagavad Gita. That reincarnation is there, but it's not meant to happen. We are meant to come back to our eternal duty. Eternal duty of the jiva is bhakti, is to serve Krishna in bhakti. This is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. The process of bhakti takes us to the spiritual level. We gradually destroy all our sinful activities and material desires, and at the time of death, if we are spiritually pure, then we attain into the spiritual world. Krishna says in chapter 2, after explaining about this concept to Arjuna, Esha brahmistiti partha nayam prapa vimuhyati stitvasyam ante kale chapi brahmanirvanam richati. He says, Arjuna, this is the spiritual consciousness. Esha brahmistiti partha nayam prapa vimuyati. Once you become spiritualized, vimuyati, you will not again become in Maya. You will stay pure. Stitvasyam ante kale, at death, if you remember and you are in this consciousness, Brahma Nirvana Michati, then you will enter into Vaikuntha. You will not take birth again. Otherwise, all of us are taking birth again. And we are in such an ignorant civilization, not only we don't know what's reincarnation, but we don't know who we are. And people are taking birth and suffering again and again. The purpose of civilization is to elevate someone spiritually and liberate them. That was Vedic culture. That was the culture of India. Now we have a material culture. Material culture is how I'm going to enjoy the body. How I'll get money and enjoy. Okay, enjoy, but what happens after death? What birth will I take? Where will I go? This is the question. So this is not being answered by science. To be happy, we have to be in a spiritual environment. Just like a fish will be happy in the water. So we are looking for happiness in this place of sadness. Not possible. We are looking again and again, and some people become wise, so they start to search on a spiritual platform, like some of you. Now you have come to hear Bhagavad Gita. You have come to hear. This is intelligence. Otherwise, majority of people just engaged in material activities. So now the question is, so much knowledge is there. Why isn't this accepted in the West? Why don't the scientists accept it? Why don't the psychologists accept it? Even here in India, you will have scientists, they'll reject all this Vedic. For them, science means Newton, Einstein, but this is not science. This is blind faith. This is blind faith. And they're asking me to believe that this world started because of a big bang. And what made that bang? Just believe it. This is it. They're teaching us that we evolved from monkeys and everything, evolution is continuing. But there's no evidence, no clear evidence. Even Darwin himself said that. So, actually, that's also blind faith. There has to be blind faith because we cannot know everything. We are limited beings. So why are we not accepting this knowledge of reincarnation and soul? The reason is because, supposing scientists accepted it, next question will come, okay, let's study it. Where is source of knowledge? Then you have to come to the Vedas. You have to come to Bhagavad Purana, Bhagavad Gita. You have to come there. And you have to accept this is superior. They will not accept that. That means that culture is inferior, this is superior. But the whole idea is that our culture is dominant. That is one thing. And another thing is that the jivas in this world, the souls in this material world, came to escape God. They came not so that they don't want to serve God. They want to enjoy themselves with this material body in this material world. So they came here. So now if you accept reincarnation, that means we have to accept Atma, soul. Then you have to accept there's intelligence which is overseeing that, that is God. And next thing is then you have to surrender and worship that personality. No, we don't want that. So what do you do? Just ignore it, don't see it. So now you have very expert scientists. highly decorated, and so much evidence all over the internet, all over documented by Ian Stevenson and Dr. Tucker, as we see. But these people won't look at this at all. They will not. Still they're questioning. So many programs are going on National Geographic. What is consciousness? What happens after death? Read Bhagavad Gita, it's there. Everything is there. They won't accept it. So this knowledge has to come out. People have to read this. We cannot be in darkness. Asatoma, sadgama. Don't be tamasoma, jyotirgama. Don't be in darkness. Don't be in illusion. We have to come to understand who we are, what is the goal of life. This is the first activity of the human being. Okay, so much we are studying, but we don't even know these points. So real knowledge is accepting these things. So now this is knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita explains these points very clearly. And reincarnation is not such a big mystery in the Vedas, in Bhagavad Gita. For example, in ISKCON, not an ISKCON, I'm talking about Vaishnavas, Vedantists, Sanatani, they know all these things. Of course, some claim to be Sanatanis, but they're not reading all these things, they don't accept. We don't know what to say about them. But this is knowledge which everyone should get. Okay, why do we have such a big brain? Dog cannot think this, elephant cannot. Human being can. The purpose of this brain is to study Shastra and understand our position and get liberation. Okay, you can use it for programming, whatever, but don't neglect the real purpose. The real purpose is we are supposed to use our brain to understand Shastra, which is given, and stop our suffering. And if we don't do that, we'll continue suffering. And the only way out is to get this higher knowledge. This is the goal of life. Srimad Bhagavatam says, first canto, chapter 2, text 10, Jiva Sattva Jigyasa, the goal of the Jiva is to understand the truth of life, tattva. So we should attain this. Okay, now, how to do this? How to get this knowledge? Read Bhagavad Gita, hear Bhagavad Gita, okay? And another method to become self-realized, to realize I'm a soul, is by chanting Hare Krishna. In ISKCON we call Hare Krishna people. Why? Because they chant Hare Krishna. But why do we chant? Because it's written in Shastra, in Kali Yuga we have to chant Hare Krishna. This mantra comes in Kali Santana Upanishad. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's written, then it's written, Iti Shodashakam Nam Kali Kalmasha Nashanam, Natta Parataropai Sarva Videshu Drishyate. In age of Kali, the only way for self-realization is to chant this mantra. And this is repeating again and again. So those who read Shastra, who understand that how can I become self-realized, how to come out of Maya, how to stop reincarnation, how to stop this cycle of birth and death, is to come on the spiritual level. And in Kali, the main system of bhakti is Kalau Tad Hari Sankirtanat. Shastra says Hari Kirtan and Japa. Chanting this Hare Krishna mantra liberates us. Anyone can do it. There is no qualification, anything special. So we appeal to everyone. Now, whatever you're doing, you have an aim, do it. But try to attain this knowledge. Understand what is going on. Don't be like people now in the world who are, pretending to be asleep. Someone is asleep, you can wake him up, he'll wake up. If someone is pretending to sleep, you can't wake him up. So these people, they'll not see, they rejected to see this knowledge. But we have to understand, if you want to attain higher knowledge, we have to come to Veda, we have to come to Bhagavad Gita. Science, they're questioning Shastra. Okay, you find the knowledge. They cannot, they will never get it. It's based on their senses. So the only way is, let's study this knowledge, read the books, read Bhagavad Gita, and outside we have a book table, not only Bhagavad Gita, but other books based on Bhagavad Gita, by which we can attain knowledge. So let's study this knowledge and this mantra Hare Krishna. So we're going to, now we have few minutes, we're going to chant this mantra one time. Some of you are new, some already know, so some of you are chanting. So you can join us in chanting. We're going to give the beads.